asleep. And aware that my breath is, in fact, a great ally on my journey to understand the mystery of meditation. Whenever my mind just be melting away, my legs, my knees, my feet, my hands, just give yourself permission. The world behind my eyes, peace and quiet is waiting for us. Gently take another deep breath. And welcome. How's that for you? Not quite sure of what's going on in the world. Go out to the arrivals, international arrivals hall at Sydney Airport. And what you see there is happiness, family reunions, every country of the United Nations greeting long lost and now found. It's a very good meditation. Gives you a bit more, because if you just watch the news on your phone, in your neck and shoulders, and apparently medically the evidence is that human people, not here of course, but people keep stress in their neck and shoulders. And then, you've got to make efforts to. It's an organisation run by women, based in, originally established at the time of British India, when India was run by the foreigners, and just a city north of Karachi, which is now in Pakistan, and a group of young women, many of families, and were brought together familiar with that. That's the probably hot spot in India between Lahore and Amritsar. Yeah, exactly. And I was greeted like a member of the family. And I heard this word, Maikun, who am I? It's one of the first things I heard when I first went to the bee caves. The benefits of what that exercise was at the beginning, like you listen to your breath, right? And your mind wandered away and then you brought it back. Then you brought it back and you breathed again. What that is doing, it's reconnecting with a part of our spirit that we've forgotten. It's not it's right or wrong, we've just forgotten stuff. See that if I change the quality of what I think about, that's all. You change the quality of what I think about, what will be, if you have gentle, peaceful, loveful thoughts, what do you think your experience would be? Sorry, it's so simple. It's that simple. A lot of my body as a soul, as a spirit, as if you look at a clear sky. Last weekend we had a few days down at the place called Berry, which is down in the Southern Highlands, and it was crystal clear at night, and you can't do the star count. It's so many stars. The same sky that's up here, but it's different light. It's the soul that operates the body. It hears through the ears, it sees through these windows, it speaks through the mouth, it feels through the body. And I'm telling you this because knowledge of the soul, understanding, it's because the mind in a body conscious state where you worry, you're concerned, you're never as good as you think you should. You've never done quite enough. All these things that we set our train of thoughts to fail. Just have to look at a television for 5 minutes and see them. And he said you can easily tell us apart. He's the good-looking twin, right? But that's what peace and happiness, they're twins of each other. If you're peaceful, if you connect with that inner peace of mind that is there, the medium that I'm sharing with you is called soul awareness, soul consciousness. And the soul does not have age. It does not, it is immortal. It always exists. The body comes and goes. And the soul, beginning and end, always thinks we're here and we come back. And by the body conscious, natural, supposedly natural states of mind, our awareness has become unhappy, peaceless, intolerant. We don't like someone for all sorts of reasons, right? And when you start becoming soul conscious, you think about, like you already started to do it in that breathing exercise, a little bit of not a trick, but a shortcut maybe somewhere. I've got a family business that we've been running. I live with my brothers, and I decided when I was about 11 years old that I'd never get married and have kids. I just didn't think I'd do that. I just felt just to our Indian sisters and brothers an unheard of concept. But I enjoy telling this story. I just never thought of myself as having kids. And when I met Daddy Janki in London, if you've never met Daddy, Google or YouTube Daddy Janki. So Janki. She is the irresistible force and the immovable object in one. When I met her and she asked me who I was, I introduced myself. As soon as I said it, I went, this is a setup, because she just looked straight through me as if I had no clothes on. Because I was a very successful merchant banker. I was going to go somewhere, depending on their own story. I just sat there, I hadn't heard that one before. So I said, okay. And then I said, can a human being be God? And she said, impossible. Oh, okay, where do I sign? And then as I was leaving, because I had this wonderful experience of meditation that understood nothing of what she told me. Absolutely nothing. Went in there and out there. But I remember the feeling. And as I walked out of the room, and she said, and Michael, you have to stop smoking. I used to be a very unintelligent, successful professional banker. You know, the trading rooms, all the phones, and that's what I used to do very well. And had no idea how to look after myself. And I was smoking a lot. And my brother Joe had met Charlie Holk, who said, she said, red meat, alcohol, tobacco. Like I was about to go to a hypnotherapist in London because I was just desperate to stop. And she said, you Westerners are so arrogant and you have no willpower. You try to do the tobacco first, but it's a drug. You have no willpower, Michael. So I said, yes, I have. She said, no, you haven't. I said, okay, fine, I'll fight. She said, if you can reduce the amount of alcohol you put into your body and meat, they will help improve the cycle to remove the dependence on the drug. And I'd never heard that before. I said, meat, yes, because meat was very expensive in London. I was pretty much a vegetarian anyway. The grog, the alcohol, I'd probably drunk like most normal Irishmen. By the time I was 24, for 2 lifetimes, so that was no problem. And then she said, and I said, why don't you eat meat? And she said, body is a temple, put your hand up. Yeah, few. The majority is not, right? And she described the body as a temple and the soul was like the goddess or the god or the deity, the holy thing that's inside your body. And if you put rubbish into the temple, and she said what she started to teach me was understanding the soul is not Michael. The soul is in the body of Michael. And she taught me a very rapid process to experience the soul in such a dramatic way. It's lasted from that day to this day. However, we don't do this very often. Danny and the others might be shocked and horrified. But there's a word she taught me called drishti. Would you like to do a drishti exercise? With this drishti, this exercise, this is the way to very quickly become aware of yourself as a soul, not a body. I will share the thought, the meditation process that I use. And I will ask you to look here or through the eye windows. They say the soul's like a third eye. And that's where the soul sits in the body. It's not the eyebrow, it's not the ankle. It's always here. It's the holiest place in the body. So, if I can ask you to sit straight, your hands on your knees or your lap, you will have to wait a little bit. But this is something, as I said, you will never hear anywhere else. It's drishti.
Do you want the soft music?
Focus on your breathing. And the soul awareness is the easiest and natural process to master. I use the thoughts that I am a peaceful soul. I, the soul, sit behind my eye windows as a driver would in a car. soul are all my memories, and my earliest memory is that of peace. Empty was my old friend. When I become aware of who I am, my thought processes are elevated. My state of mind naturally becomes quiet. I feel very light. And my body is relaxing. By practicing this soul consciousness, my intellect begins to become strong again. My intellect has been running here and there, outside myself. It's been connected to the outside world. And as a result, I have become tired. Using these soul conscious thoughts, I feel refreshed and amazed at the beauty of the soul. I these thought processes allow me to relax and be who I am. So I begin to connect with my old friend, peace of mind. I begin to lose fear, inferiority feelings. I begin to experience self-respect. We are taught a special mantra here. Mantra meaning divine advice. And that advice is called Om Shanti. Om being the word to describe the eternal soul, and Shanti is peace. So I invite you to bring the palms of your hands together at your heart like this. And please say Om Shanti. That ends the lesson tonight. I'm cheating actually. I can sit up here and see all your faces at the same time. I feel you had like you enjoyed yourself tonight. And someone who's played a role in the trainer, quickest way to enter a room is by saying to now, has anyone got any questions? Brahma Kumaris that. I can see the look on some of your faces. And could I ask you to share some of the experiences you've had tonight to help all of us?
I felt that I was in some other world, which is no worldly connection, and it was only a energy. And when I looked at you, it was as if I was connecting myself to your energy. I felt that it's only energy that's existing everywhere, and I felt I became bodiless. And this energy was there, felt like that. Yeah.
First class. It's very
be aware of the point, and trying to look at your between eyes, because you're moving your hair up, but sort of like, I was kind of going up and down sort of thing. But I think it takes practice.
I guarantee you it takes practice. Yeah.
And is achievable. And I guess the question I have is, when you get to a point of, I guess, getting better at and having mastery of breathing and focusing and trying to just let thoughts go past, at what point, if you have something disturbing you, at what point can you actually focus on something to try and, you hear about people who meditate that actually come to terms with issues or resolve issues or whatever. Is that something that you can choose through meditation, or is it just that
You
you
may recall at the beginning of the talk tonight that learning the meditation is easy. That's what you do with it, and that's part of the answer. If I understand your question, that yes, it does. It takes time, and the more you put into it, the more you'll get back from it. And there's lots and lots and lots of stuff that we can't cover tonight because we're going to be here next week, and sure got other things to do. But one of the things I was going to suggest, if you can spend some time in the bookshop here, I made a CD of meditation commentaries some years ago, because I don't know about you, but I'd come at, whether it's here or whether it was in India or London, wherever, you go to this wonderful, you go to all those wonderful classes, and I list out and go out, and you're on the plane coming back, and I'm not a note writer, I can't write notes, I start off and then I forget. So a friend of mine suggested I make a CD and capture the meditation commentaries. So to be honest, I listen to these, and it just takes a moment for me to remember it was me, with some help. And here, this is called Journey Within, the experiencing meditation. And on this and other CDs and books that we've got here, they are like your coaches, things to answer questions, because whatever we can say in 60 minutes tonight's not going to be enough to start. It is for some people, everyone's different. And you'll find your thing that motivates you to keep going and continue to do positive things in your life. And then when you do that, part it's around diet, partly we've covered on a few things tonight. But when you find your truth, and yours is different to me, it's different, we're all different, you will find the answers. And keep connecting with people like you all tonight. It's better to be in a room full of people rather than just on your own. So something I learned a long time ago, the only thing you can actually do on your own, most of us get lonely. And 7 billion people on the planet, the biggest disease is loneliness, right? It's amazing. It's a peculiarity of the time. Maybe a couple more sharings. Yeah.
I actually sort of probably got more questions than sharings, if that's okay. One is just around the point.
Yeah.
I'm actually not a very visual person, so guided meditations and things I don't find. I mean, I love the commentaries; they work for me. But if people are asking me to, walk down a path and do all these things, I find it very difficult to visualise that. So I find it difficult to visualise the point. I feel it more than I can see it, and I just wondered, how important being able to see this point is, because otherwise that can become a distraction to me. I feel because I can't see this point.
You've already answered your own question, as sister here. It's how you feel. That's the key, because I'm far from an intellectual person. I didn't understand anything of what I heard, but I felt. And that's been my experience in 40 actually experiencing anything, you need to look at a few things. But most people feel something when they come into a centre like this. That's the key.
So
And
don't get
then-
hung up on seeing the point.
Yeah, well, you can't say, well, technically you can.
Yeah.
That's going into visions
Yeah.
and trance things, which is another subject altogether. But sometimes, I don't know, people describe they see a point of light, a nice little bright. That's probably someone nice thinking about you. You just see them. But because it's not physical, it's very little to benchmark against. However, the feeling, if you're feeling that this is doing you good, keep doing it.
And may I ask you a second question? It was just around if you're going through a very difficult time where that thinking mind is really harassing you, like with a lot of negative thoughts and so forth, and then try and counter that, you know, to stop that and remind yourself that you're a peaceful soul and so forth, to help you move away from that negative cycle. That can be really hard, and I'm just wondering,
It's not hard, it's impossible.
it's impossible. I was just about to say, if you practice the process often enough when you're feeling okay, does it become easier
Yes, it
when
does.
you're struggling? I mean, I could give a direct example, which was just simply this morning, like I was very depressed, and it started early in the morning at 3 or 4, and I felt it, and then I was able to put this into practice, and I calmed myself, and I think I even slept a bit again, but then I woke, and then it was on again, and I think I did it partially, and then a little bit later, you know, so it was a real struggle
Yeah.
with the depression, and in the end I felt like I just needed to sob and to a certain extent let the energy out physically, and then I was able to move on with the help of somebody. But at that time, when it was happening, like I had great awareness of what was going on, but it was so hard to practice.
If I could just stop you there. Issues like depression, mental challenge, we all have that. It's not a stigma. So, I will be very blunt to answer your question. Meditation at that time probably is not the thing for you. Professional help is something. There is a phone call away, and you know where to go for that. And I'd certainly recommend things like swimming, exercise. When you stop smoking 60 cigarettes a day straight enough, you put on a lot of weight. And I had to learn about exercise and swimming to save my life. This one up here as well as this one here. And there are some very gifted souls around to help much more. I'm not, and I wouldn't begin to devalue the issues that you're sharing with us, so thank you very much for that. Certainly that, along with healthy diet, is one. Often the dietary stuff's overlooked, because that's part of the solution for yourself and the world is non-violence, or this the Buddhist way of ahimsa, which is so that's all these things can help you, and the other side, the professional stuff, is for you to explore.
I guess I'm aware of all of those things and I do all of those things, but I was just curious to know if there was any comment about how I can make use of this at the time.
Even I used to feel the same, and even like sometimes I can't control my mind, and negative things are coming inside mine. You can't control it. You know it's bad. You're feeling depressed. You know. So at that time, I was looking at a lot of videos, and there was one doctor, Dr. John Bushman. In that video, he said that we've got
for example, we've got neurons in our brain. When neurons fire positively, we think positively, and when our neurons fire negatively, we think negatively. So he gave an example like there are two kids at a home, at a house. There are two kids. One is very positive, one is very negative. At Christmas, if you gift a lot of gifts to the negative guy who thinks a lot of negative, he'll still think that it's bad. So many gifts, I have to open it up and I have to do all that stuff. And the positive one, even if you don't give him anything, he'll think that they must be giving me a surprise or something like that. So at that time, even if he doesn't get any gift, he'll think positively. So the main point was that his neurons were firing positively. That doctor, he said how to fire those neurons positively. That is positive input. And in my case, even I used to feel the same. So for positive input, I went to YouTube, all the Brahma Kumari videos, anger management, stress management, being blessed. I watched all of those for the positive input. And now, even now, if I think something negative, I at that time, like Michael said today, when we breathe, we like kind of have control over our minds again. So similarly, I say Om Shanti, and then even if I'm thinking negatively, I think what I'm thinking, then I say Om Shanti again, Om Shanti, and then
And
it's,
it does
That-
work.
yeah.
That could be a
Excuse me,
circuit
if I could-
breaker.
this
I
is a
think.
subject that can be,
Yeah.
we are getting close to time, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
But the good thing about these events that we get to know each other, we get to talk to different people with different experiences. But could I just ask from this part of the room, would someone like just to finish up what made you smile the way you did? And that will be our last meditation for the night. Anyone to share?
This event was just like another recharge. I do practice soul conscious. In fact, I do go for the meditative gardener in the Blue Mountains. So I felt like my charge was kind of getting down. So just come here and I feel bit charged. So this keeps me going on with the soul conscious and those kind of thought process.
This is why I like doing this class, because I also get charged.
So I really see this as a recharge point, honestly.
Yeah, but that's what it is, it's
So
recharging.
we all know everything, but you always, just like the phones, it gets drained because it's used, got to plug in. So this was a good recharge point.
Fantastic. Well, please keep practicing this, because that is the key. You will get more advice in life. They say there are many vices of anger and all those sorts of things. But the worst vice often is advice. So, but what you get here is good suggestions for your life, because we're all different. We've all got different needs, different motivations, different likes and dislikes. And that's why I would recommend a few moments of browsing either the BK website or the bookshop here, because we all need, I know, that's why I did the CD, because I play it myself sometimes when you need to. And when you connect with yourself, you start to see all the souls as one family, because that's what we are. Would you agree with that? Is that something that sits comfortably with you? Okay. Well, what I'll do, we'll finish up now. And one more, please come. Because if we're all one family, we must have a common parent. I'll leave that thought with you. Shanti, thank you for your trust and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
So that was great. It was very experiential tonight. Thank you, Michael. I really liked how his 43 years of experience was transmitted through his eyes towards the end. So words can only take us so far, but the power of that drishti, which is that soulful vision, is how the soul really communicates. So that was great. So Michael's kind of already suggested to you to spend some time in the bookshop if you want to have a look at the CD that he's produced. or other literature to get some tools to help you. But there's this flyer outside which you can pick up. So this is all of the Thursday evening talks for the month of March. So if you haven't got a copy of this, get one on the way out. The one that's coming up next Thursday it's also on yoga, and the title is "What is Yoga?" ? Exclamation mark, question mark, exclamation mark. Because yoga it's like, you know, walking into a supermarket today, and there's so many varieties of yoga, just as you've got so many varieties of shampoo, and so we've got Kim, who's actually a Hatha yoga teacher. She runs the Yogi and Bliss retreats sometimes, which is a combination of meditation and Hatha yoga. So she's going to be talking about the many varieties of yoga that you can come across today, but ultimately yoga has one purpose, even if you approach it from many different angles. So what is that one purpose? That's what Kim is going to share with you next Thursday. And the other program, there's also this flyer outside. I think this is an ongoing program every Tuesday at 6:30 to 8:30. It's a non-violent communication workshop, and I think you can just drop in if you haven't been to any of the programs before. So thank you for coming, and thank you, Michael.